What is up there everyone, it's the guy from the Gamertag here, and today we're going to talk gameplay. Now, funnily enough, the gameplay behind you, what you're seeing is some ASM1 Hardpoint gameplay, and I actually have a kind of funny story about this gameplay. And what happened was I'd actually just logged on to PS4, and I'd had a message from a subscriber, and he sent me one of his scores from a game of Advanced Warfare, and then I'd have said it was a pretty okay score. It was decent enough, considering the complete unreliability and unpredictability of this game. I'd have said it was a pretty solid score. And he asked me, what kind of scores do you normally get, or can you beat this? And I was thinking, I might try this, I might see, and I saw it was a hardpoint game, and I was like, well, I don't normally play hardpoint, I might give it a go, I might not, I don't know, I'll see what happens. So then when I logged on to Advanced Warfare, it turned out my daily challenge was actually to win 3 games of hardpoint. So I thought, why not, I'll take on the challenge, I'll see if I can match or better the score that my subscriber has sent me. And so then this game happened, because this was the first game I actually played, and I was quite surprised because I'll say straight out, I am not the greatest Advanced Warfare player, and yet I still managed to get, I think it was 44 for 10 in this game, which for me was pretty good. And I spent pretty much the entire game focusing on the hardpoint, and the one thing I found was actually probably what gave me the score was the fact that I worked out how I could funnel the enemies who were trying to get to the hardpoint effectively, which gave me quite a lot of kills. But I actually did have quite a bit of fun in this game. And I know what a lot of you will say, it's like, well, you're using an ASM1 Magnitude, that is the ultimate sweaty gun. It's supposed to be a fun game and yet you're just going complete try-hard. But actually, I actually kind of like the competitive aspect in this game. That's one of the reasons why I still play it, because a lot of people, I don't understand the point that you don't want to try hard every game. So I don't. When I don't want to try my hardest, I don't play this game because I don't want to. I'll play something like Battlefield because I actually find that I have a bit more enjoyment on Battlefield for just playing it casually than I would this game, where I have to try a lot. But I do still get enjoyment from trying as hard as I have to be and do well on this game. So I actually found that it was quite I quite enjoyed this game because I was sweating my balls off and I was getting rewarded for it. The only time it's not fun is when, of course, you're sweating your balls off and you're still losing, because then that just makes you feel like crap. But I actually had quite a lot of fun in this game, and it was quite funny because I had to then, when I sent my subscriber the score from this game, I was like, yeah, this is the score I just got. It's not really what I normally get, because this is, for me, quite a rare score. I don't usually actually get a KD like this in a game, because normally what happens is I go on like one really good streak, and then I die loads trying to continue the game. But in general, this one was just a rarity because I actually seemed to do fairly consistently through the game, since I only had 10 deaths. And funnily enough, this is actually one of my favourite maps in the game Recovery. I just sort of like it. It just has a good flow to it in Uplink and pretty much all the modes I've played. Apart from TDM, I've never played it in TDM because I don't play TDM because I really don't like it. It just really, to me, TDM has absolutely no flow in this game and really hasn't been any good since like Modern Warfare 2 days, maybe even Modern Warfare 3, but things I can't remember playing it in Modern Warfare 3 because that was so long ago. But it's the fact that the spawns, the way they work, they just seem to be completely random almost, whereas in old games you'd have one team that would spawn in an area, and that was why people had such insane games on Modern Warfare 2 Team Deathmatch. It's because people worked out how they could lock down the spawns, because you could keep them spawning in one area. So what it meant was that to play smart, you had to get out of that area so your team would spawn somewhere else and you wouldn't get spawn trapped, which added a cool layer to it. But in fact, I personally, in the past 2 Call of Duties, in fact also in Black Ops 2, in fact, I've kind of just gone completely wrong there. Everyone has the game mode that they will play the most in a Call of Duty game, or just in any game in general. For like Battlefield 4, I play Rush, well, I did play Rush all the time. I started going back to it now, but I did play Conquest for a while. But you'll have a game mode that you just sort of play a lot because you enjoy it, there's a good flow to it, you've just sort of got to learn it. And for me, in Advanced Warfare, that game mode is Uplink. That is the game where I've just sort of got it on lock. I know pretty much all the time what I'm doing, and I know how to win the game. But the thing is, of course, you can't always rely on your teammates, so I don't always want to play it. I did actually at first play a lot of Momentum, but the absolute ridiculous spawns in that game mode just completely put me off it. But I've gone back to it a little bit recently and it's been a bit better, but I still prefer Uplink as my mode because I just sort of get that and it works for me. Now for Ghosts, at first my game mode was Blitz. I was an absolute tank at that mode. I just managed to get that mode on lock, and I completely knew exactly how to cap and everything. That's the thing with Blitz and Uplink. I just transferred it over because I'd already become pretty good at Blitz and Ghosts, but then I just transferred it over to Uplink, where it's only a little bit different. It's knowing the main thing you've got to learn in Uplink is when to time when you want to hit someone with the satellite, and how to throw the satellite. That's probably the hardest thing you've got to get used to. But I found that actually I could transfer the skills over, but then eventually Blitz just sort of got a bit annoying because there was just too much wrong with the way the game mode worked. It just could get a bit irritating because a lot of people would just camp their base, and in those games it's just absolutely no fun. And with the IEDs it just made it absolute hell. So then I went over to Domination in Ghosts, which I pretty much played for the rest of the life cycle of the game. And Domination Ghosts actually was probably my favourite mode in the game, simply because on a good game you could get so many people rushing. And I know that sounds completely stupid because Ghost was renowned for being the game for campers, but I actually found on PS4 there were a lot of rushing lobbies in Domination. People would go for the flags. I had one game where I went 35 for 5 with 20 captures or something like that, and I could have so many captures because people were playing the objective, although of course there were the games where people wouldn't, and that was extremely irritating, especially when you lose to a team who is ignoring the objective mostly. That was something that always got to me. But yeah, Ghosts, my favourite mode was definitely Domination. And then Modern Warfare 3, it was Demolition. God, Modern Warfare 3 Demolition was amazing because it had objectives to complete, and I do like objectives. I think the reason why objective modes are so popular in games is because, especially in Advanced Warfare, is because the game Advanced Warfare has very little flow to it because of the exosuit. It means you can get absolutely anywhere you want to very quickly, and the game mode and the objectives sort of focus the gameplay around a certain area. So in Hardpoint, people will go for the hardpoint, so you're guaranteed to get some kills at the hardpoint. So that's why objective modes are so popular, and Demolition was just the perfect blend because you had the bomb sites which you could go for, and you didn't even have to rush them. You just had to play fairly smart. You could just go on the basis of, okay, we need to get these objectives, but we'll get it in a couple of minutes. We'll take out one, extend the time limit, we'll get a few more kills, and then we'll do it. And that was the fun thing. It was almost like an unspoken agreement between all the players that you would take out one objective only for the purpose of extending the time the game lasted, so you could all get loads of kills. And in fact, the most kills I've ever had in a game was Modern Warfare 3 Demolition. I think it was 65 kills, which isn't actually that great. Like, there's been much better scores on YouTube, especially since I think I had like 40 deaths. But then I was never a good Modern Warfare 3 player. That was when I was still a noob, the always angry, always bitching, but even though you're actually the bad player. Because unfortunately at that point I was still one of these kids who decided I was the best thing to ever happen to Call of Duty and everything was everyone else's fault. And so I never quite appreciated that I really wasn't a great player. But actually I think that personally I improved my gameplay the most in Ghosts, because the way the game worked, you had to have good reactions, and I think I actually, once I'd gotten used to the game, kind of mastered it, I sort of improved my reactions, and I've carried that over to Advanced Warfare. I don't have an amazing KD, which isn't something that bothers me, for the one reason of I have a positive win-loss. My win-loss is the one thing that I do want to have positive, and that's something that slightly irritates me about my Battlefield stats, is that I have a negative win-loss. But then at the same time, I'm not going to fret about it because Battlefield's a game that I play just for fun. But anyway guys, I do hope you've enjoyed. That there is the end of the game. I did have a lot of fun in this game mode, and to you, my subscriber, his PS4 name was Nuberus. I will admit this was not a average game for me. This is one of my better games. But anyway guys, I do hope you've enjoyed. This has been the guy with no gamer tag, and I will see you on another video.